All right, we are back with another 2021 MLB Draft Show. I'm joined tonight by Louisville star catcher Henry Davis. Henry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, I know you've caught a lot of people's attention. The position of catcher is always one that gets a lot of attention as we get closer to next year's draft. But I want to talk to you a little bit about how the last calendar year has gone for you. Obviously, your freshman year was a success. Your sophomore year here in 2020 was a very loud success. Talk to me about some of your goals going into 2021 and your junior year.
The main goal is go back to Omaha and win a national championship, be able to finish that and dogpile. I feel like I have a lot of goals, but everything kind of falls behind that.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the arms that you get to catch on a nightly basis on your way to Omaha. So you go with Reid Detmers, you go with Bobby Miller. Now you got Glenn Albanese, you got Jack Perkins. Is it an embarrassment of riches? I mean, it's just arm after arm after arm out there.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it definitely makes me better. And that's probably been the highlight of my career is just catching all those guys because as they continue on and have success, I'm sure I'll be able to tell stories down the road about, oh, I caught Reid and I caught Bobby and I did it back to back. And then obviously all the other pitchers that are on the staff that I got to catch.
Now, you said that it helps you with your development and moving forward. Can you kind of talk to me about what that supplies in terms of, maybe preparing you for the next steps?
Well, I went from New York high school pitching where it's competitive and I had a lot of fun there, but you go from that to catching Bobby throwing 98 to 100 with like a bowling ball sank to it. So it's definitely it was a big adjustment, but it just made me better. And it's like doing that under pressure in big games in the ACC. Just it's only going to make me better as it would any other catcher.
Now, obviously, catching in the ACC is a challenge. But when you got guys that have the stuff that some of the guys at Louisville have, it makes it a little bit easier on you. I'm assuming that has kind of given you some time to prepare defensively behind the plate. Obviously, you've taken huge strides defensively in blocking and receiving, but you get a lot of high marks for your arm. I want to talk and ask, how did you get to the point that you're at now where a lot of people kind of consider you to have one of the better arms in college baseball?
Well, when I was younger, I didn't really have a great arm. Like maybe when I was like 12 or 13, 14, and I just wanted to make that a part of my game because I saw like you grow up watching Yadier Molina and all these guys just throw out runners after runner. So I did a lot of long toss and I kind of became a little bit obsessive of like the running gun and like seeing how far I could throw and how hard I could throw. And I just always would measure it and see if I could get a little bit better. And over the years, it definitely paid off.
So I bet you wish people would run on you a little bit more, huh?
Yeah, but it's a benefit to know what situations they're going to run in. Like they're only going to run for the most part if it's like a full count or like 3-1, like just put a guy in motion and then you just put it on the bag and it's not close. Or they'll run if it's like a breaking ball situation or super late in the game and they need to get a guy in scoring position. So those are adrenaline moments where it's a ton of fun to throw a dude out, and I take a lot of pride in it.
For sure. Well, let's talk about the bat. That's what everybody wants to talk about. As good as you are behind the plate and as good as the arm is, the bat is a bit of a calling card for you. You and I have talked about this off air. You've got some of the most insane exit velocities in college baseball. And that's saying a lot considering the program you're in, the conference that you're in. Without saying, just pure strength, where does the power come from? Where does the ability to drive the ball come from?
I would definitely say I spend a lot of time in the weight room. I try and get in there whenever I can and make sure that every day I'm taking advantage of time I have and pushing myself there, really making sure that the time I have in there, especially now that we're limited in there, that I'm really like getting the most out of every single workout we do. And our strength coach, Zach Farrell, is awesome with letting us get in, and he really like manipulates his schedule to make sure guys who want to get extra work can always do that. So that's a big part of it. And then other than that, it's Coach Snyder and Coach Vrabel are hitting coaches. And
Mm-hmm.
since I've been here, like hitting coaches can throw around a lot of stuff, but they just talk about like hard, consistent contact. Like if you hit the ball hard consistently, baseball is a game where a lot of things can happen. But if you just hit the ball consistently hard, good things are going to happen.
Let's get a little deeper into the weeds. I mean, we talk exit velo. You and I have talked about vertical bat angle. We've talked about hitting the ball out in front. Is there a philosophy that you take to the plate to try and optimize your swing? Or maybe a better second part of that question would be in the offseason right now when you're getting in your hacks in the cage, what sort of thought processes are you going through to make sure that you're putting the best product in the batter's box?
Well, in game, I never really think about my swing. I'm pretty locked in on like what pitch to be expecting and what's the situation, what runners are on. Am I hitting behind a guy who has speed? Are they going to try and what are they going to try and beat me with based on how they've pitched me the whole weekend, or what's the pitcher strength if it's a Friday night? So I think about a lot of stuff like that in game. Off the field, depending on what the situation is, I'll do a lot of work on the fastball machine, and I worry mostly about contact result. Like I don't want to be rolling over balls that I could be driving for doubles or home runs, or if I'm consistently hitting line drives, do I want them to be middle of the field? Yeah. So things like working off the middle of the field really helps me.
So you're really cognizant of launch angle and all of that stuff. It's something that you review after sessions.
Well, I don't think about it too much in game because I feel like you need a pretty big sample size for that stuff to go into effect. But Mike Allman is our statistics guy, and he's really good about getting us that information and showing us what it means and going into the numbers and what we can use to our advantage and showing us our strengths, our weaknesses, things like that. Yeah.
Well, the bat took a huge step forward from your freshman to sophomore year, which is saying a lot because you had a good freshman year, but you batted .372 this year. I want to take you back to kind of the last week or so of collegiate play this year. You go deep against Morehead State. You go deep against Wake Forest. You go deep against Chicago State, all in a matter of like 5 days. And then they kind of pump the brakes and say, hey, that's it. That's 2020. We'll see if we can continue on. Obviously you got guys like Bobby and you got guys like Reid and upperclassmen that was it for them. How tough was it for you to kind of put the brakes on this season?
I mean, it sucked. It was like I still feel like we would have won the national championship just knowing the guys on the team and how much work we put into it and how we were hitting our stride so early in the season. Like we felt like we were only going to improve from there on. But at the same time, I didn't really dwell on it too long because there's only so much you can do about it. So I kind of just worried about where we could go from there, like what pieces we had coming back the next year, talking with guys, making sure everybody was getting after it and like having a plan. So whenever people did say play ball, like we were all ready, whether that's pitchers throwing or hitters who were going to leagues. Like I remember like the second we knew there was a chance we could play here, I came back from New York, and I mean, even though you didn't see too much, like I had a little cage like in a friend's backyard that I could use once in a while, but I couldn't go to any facilities or anything like that. Kind of go straight from there to seeing dudes like, I mean, Jack was throwing in Grand Park, so
yeah,
it was a cool.
So was Glenn, and I heard both of those guys were pumping some gas.
Glenn
I
was
d-
in the Woods.
oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Northwoods. Still, the small summer ball thing. It seems like it did a lot of guys a lot of good. I do want to kind of turn the page to next year and talk about those dudes because, for my money, I don't know how big of a step Louisville's pitching staff is going to take backwards. I mean, Glenn, Jack, you got Michael Kirian, among a number of other arms. How do they stack up?
To each other, or
Just the two classes. I mean, catching Glenn and Kirian and maybe Perk, and then catching Reid and Bobby last year.
I think each pitcher is unique. Even I remember I did a little thing last year on catching Luke, Reid, and Bobby on how all their personalities are different, but all use them to their advantage and are super successful with their unique pitching styles. I think this year you have two guys with Jack and Glenn who kind of have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, where Glenn's dealt with injuries, and then obviously last year, like for him, it was like he came in and was just punching everybody out, and then like he's having that success, and then it was taken away really quickly from all of us.
Right.
And Perkins having a great freshman year. He was our midweek guy, did really well out of the pen, and then had Tommy John right before we went to Omaha. Like those things sting for those guys. So when you have two pitchers as talented as they are, who are pretty pissed off coming into the season, that's definitely a good thing. And they both work really hard on that. I mean, our whole staff, if you want to, like, they work hard and they all make each other better. Like every single day, even when we're like in individual practice right now, and they don't have to be here every single day. They're down there working on stuff, playing catch, doing conditioning, like finding ways to improve when maybe other guys would be taking this time off. They all work super hard.
I want to rewind to one of those things that you just said. They've all got different personalities, and they've all got a chip on their shoulder, and they're all pissed off. Let's talk about Luke Smith. What's it like catching Luke, and how do you kind of play off of his personality to keep him in control?
Well, we're very similar in how competitive we are, and it's so fun to catch him because like those mound visits are fantastic, and you can just get him going, and like sometimes you know exactly what to say just to piss him off enough to punch out the next 5 dudes and get us off the field. Or if I say something like I know he's never gonna think, like he's never gonna take a break, but if we get 2 outs really quick, I'll say like something smart, like, hey, like it's not over yet, like don't think like we're out of this yet, and he'll just come right back in the zone, pumping strikes and stuff. And it's a lot of fun just having his aggressiveness on the mound, because I feel like that just helps everybody on the field. When
Does Luke Smith have a little bit of Joe Kelly in him?
Yeah, he's definitely like that. I think there was something said where like Luke had that as his favorite pitcher, and then Pitching Ninja on Twitter like cited it, which was kind of funny. But yeah,
it's an easy parallel. There's another parallel there. Joe Kelly was caught by Will Smith in the World Series. I know that Will was a little bit before your time at Louisville, but does he have any sort of imprint at the school, or do you try to follow anything that he's done?
Yeah, I mean, him having success in the big leagues and I mean winning a World Series is fantastic. And I know some people might look at it as a catcher comparison, but him having that success and literally winning the World Series gives every single guy on our team and every guy who ever played in a Louisville uniform who's still trying to play professional baseball like something to strive for. And he's always works hard. I mean, you see him come back. I remember having him he took me around on my official, and I like followed them around during practice for a day. And I remember those guys, like even to this day, doing the same stuff we do. And it's kind of just a Louisville thing where you put your head down and you work. And if you continue to do that, you'll have success.
Love that. We've talked enough about the pitching staff. I want to talk about the lineup that you guys are going to throw out there next year, because that really hasn't taken any steps back. I'm sure you're going to be somewhere in the middle of it. You got Benelis, who's going to be up there. Lucas Dunn, I'm sure, will be at the top. Oh, geez, Levi Usher. I mean, it's a deep lineup. So even though you missed seeing what could have come from that 2020 lineup, does it make you excited for 2021 and just bruising the ACC?
Yeah, I mean, it's about as deep a lineup as you can get. I really don't feel like there's anybody who I wouldn't be comfortable having in the 3 or 4 hole in the entire lineup. And not only that, you got guys like Luke, Levi, and I mean, Lucas all run really well, and we're going to put a lot of pressure on guys. And just there's no break in the lineup. Like even when I'm catching, you feel like sometimes it's like, okay, like these 2 guys or like these 3 in a row, like we got to like really lock in here and get these guys out because they can hurt us. But the rest of the lineup, you kind of like you have guys like Bobby and Reid that just cruise through. You don't really have that in our lineup. Like it's so complete, one after another, just competitive at bats, speed, power, athleticism. Like it's really, really something people should.
Yeah, it's daunting. On the flip side of that, you've now seen enough pitchers over the last 2 years to kind of get a feel for what guys have good stuff. Is there an arm that sticks out over the last couple of years, or even on the Cape? I know you didn't get that many at bats in 2019, but is there an arm that sticks out during your collegiate career that you can just say, man, that guy is different?
Like on our team too, or
Yeah, I mean, either way, just someone that maybe people aren't talking about enough, but from the batter's box, it's just hell on earth.
I don't know if I'd say anybody has been like hell on earth, but I mean, there are like facing Glenn where it kind of feels like it's behind you, but it also has that ride where it'll like come in and up on you was definitely uncomfortable. Like even when you feel like I can have a competitive at bat in any situation, like it's rare that somebody hits the ball hard on him. Like if you're putting it in play or even like catching him, like it's a weak single or like somebody will flare one over the second baseman's head because it's just he's in control when he's on the mound.
Yeah, not to mention the banger curveball. I mean, that's a power curve.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have too many more questions for you. Let's kind of jump ahead and talk about where you see yourself next July. I know that you had mentioned off air that, bar none, you want to be the number 1 pick in the draft. How are you going to get there? Between now and next July, what sort of improvements do you want to see in your game to kind of elevate that?
Well, I feel like I've always, and this has been my whole career, I feel like I've always seen somebody in the mirror who I'm chasing. Like I always see what I can be. And I feel like that's the reason I say I can be the first pick in the draft, because I feel like I can be not only the impact, like middle of the order bat that guys are chasing, I feel like I can be a gold glover behind the plate. And when you put those two together, like the bat at a premium position with all the defensive tools, putting it together, I feel like that's where I can be. And the plan to kind of get there is just to keep working on every little thing possible defensively and continuing to make strides offensively to make sure that all comes together. Because even though I see it, it's not like it's there yet. I feel like I can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan, to make it happen. But I mean, right now, the big focuses are like blocking every single ball, even the ones that are more difficult. I don't really care if somebody says it's a wild pitch or a pass ball. Like I take a lot of pride in keeping the ball in front of me and knowing that pitchers can trust me on our staff to throw the ball 50 feet in the dirt, runner on third, really important moments, or throw dudes out and just be the guy behind the plate that our coaches can trust to run the game. And then, I mean, offensively, continuing to get better, continuing to work on just plate discipline and swinging at pitches that I really should be damaging, not getting myself out early in the count or chasing pitches in 2-0 or 3-1 counts where I could be hurting the pitcher. things like that, I feel like will help me be the person I see in the mirror. So
Love it, man. Well, I'll leave you with one last put you on the hot seat question. We like to put people on the hot seat and kind of, test them a little bit. But since a lot of listeners and viewers are going to be more familiar with Louisville baseball, I'm going to put you on the spot, man. Who is the worst dancer in the program?
definitely Alex Galvin. He's a freshman.
Is that just a little bit of freshman hazing?
No, it's bad. No.
All right, dude. I like it. It's been a pleasure having you, man. We're all rooting for you over here. We enjoy your tape. We enjoy your game. And, hoping 2021 comes and you show what you're worth.
All right.
All right, man. Take it easy. It was fun.